Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done with week 5, and I can't be too upset with how my teams did. Of course, a Sunday decision made me lose more categories than I should have, but it's all good. I digress. It's a long season. We're going to go ahead and start with the Kent Murphy Dingers. I had a pretty convincing win, 8-2 this week. That brought my record to 3-0-1. I did have a pretty good week for Mr. Christian Yelich. He had 1 home run, 8 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. I also had 2 home runs and 3 stolen bases from Mr. Zach Neto. And Mr. Lawrence Butler had 4 runs scored on 2 home runs and a stolen base just for good measure. He also had at least 1 home run and 2 stolen bases from Mr. Francisco Alvarez, Riley Green, Matt Olson, and, of course, we cannot forget my boy, Wilson Contreras, who's finally found his life. We also had a pretty good pitching rotation. I had 1 win and between 3 and 9 strikeouts from Mr. Hunter Brown, Jose Quintana, Andrew Haney, Nick Pivetta, and Carlos Rodon. Pretty happy with Carlos Rodon. Yes, he's had a clunker or 2 here or there, but he's doing pretty good for me. Also, got to be happy with Mr. Nick Pivetta. Had him last year, did well for me. Have him this year. So far doing well for me. On the other hand, we have to talk about the guys who have been ice cold for us, and unfortunately that includes Mr. Jose Altuve for like the 2nd week in a row, and Adolis Garcia. We also didn't have to talk about Christian Sanchez. He was hurt in his last start. He was pulled and said there were some forearm issues. That is Tommy John territory. However, they did not even do an MRI. They're not too worried about it, and he has been cleared to start as of today, Tuesday, for tomorrow, Wednesday, against the Nationals. Could be a good matchup, but do I sit him? Do I use one of my starts on him? I don't know. Could be a tough decision, but in any case, I hope he is good because, spoiler alert, I picked him up in another league. Speaking of adds and drops, let's go ahead and get to the guys that we did pick up to make our team even better. Jose Soriano didn't have a great start. Mr. Jose Quintana, who had a really good start. Andrew Haney, who had a phenomenal start. And Nick Kurtz. Why did you say it so funny? Well, that's actually how the Athletics announcers have been told to say his name because it would evoke some potential slur. So yeah, Nick Kurtz is how we're going to say his name. Yeah. Anyway, the guys we dropped did include Carson Kelly. Again, I picked him up just to see if we can get some cheeky home runs, cheeky points here and there, but didn't work out for me. We also dropped Jose Soriano because he had a bad start, and I really didn't trust him going against the Twins later on in the week. We also did drop Mr. Andrew Haney. Next matchup is actually tonight against the Cubs. So far, it's a pitcher's duel, like 1 hit, 2 hits between the two, like through like 4 or 5 innings. So I did not expect that, especially against a hot Cubs team. And then finally, Victor Scott. I really didn't want to do that, but I also did pick up Nick Kurtz with that. So now we're going to move to the Cheese Weasels. This week, I did pretty good. I was happy with what my team did despite a very cold Spencer Torkelson. We'll get to him in a second. This week we are in 5th place with 97 points. Great job bouncing back from a terrible week last week. Again, lots of baseball left. Not too terribly worried about it. We already talked about some of these guys who did do well for us, Mr. Lawrence Butler and Mr. Christian Yelich. However, another situation where we had guys who had at least 1 home run and 2 RBIs from Marcell Ozuna, Nolan Arenado, Yordan Alvarez. I didn't start him the 2nd 3-run home run he had later in the week, so that's pretty freaking frustrating. Also, Spencer Torkelson and Bryson Stott, who actually had 4 RBIs and 3 walks. Ooh, look at you. We also had at least 1 win from, of all people, Jose Alvarado. Paul Skeens, who did a great job at shutting out the Dodgers. And then Luis Castillo, who was dropped. Surprised we picked him up. And he had a great game. I'm pretty sure it was against the Pirates, so it didn't really count. But hey! A win's a win. Actually, no, it was against the Marlins. I forgot. Yeah. Pretty sure it was against the Marlins. On the opposite side of production, although they did provide us with home runs and RBIs, they didn't really do a whole lot else, nor did they have high batting average. Spencer Torkelson, Nolan Arenado, and Lawrence Butler. That's pretty frustrating. Also, Mr. Brenton Doyle, and it's understandable because he did have a loss in his family. Now, I'm going to take a quick second to get on my soapbox and rant a little bit. The individuals in the chat box or for the comments, when you go to Yahoo chat, giving comments on their thoughts about Mr. Brenton Doyle and his family and the fact they did lose a baby in the first trimester, you're sick and you're twisted and you're disgusting. And I am so happy that I do not actually have the ability to see you or talk to you in person because you're nothing but filth and trash. And I hope that anyone that does go and read some of the comments there are just as filled with fury as I am. You have no idea what that's like. You have no idea how they feel unless obviously you have lost a child, maybe in the first trimester. I don't really care what you think, whether it's fetus, whether it's a couple cells, whatever. That's not what we're about. I'm talking to you about being a decent human being and not wishing poorly on someone else's family when they've suffered a loss. I don't care what you think it is, it's a loss. So, if you have made negative comments about Brenton Doyle in the Yahoo chat, you're a piece of trash. And I hope to God that there's nothing ever wrong with your family, because when or if that does happen, you're going to feel real bad about comments you made. Anyway, now back to the guys that didn't do well for us. Tyler Glass Cannon Glasnow. That's so frustrating because he is one of my favorite guys to see pitch. When he was with the Pirates with my boy Jameson Taillon, when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays, I was always happy to see him pitching on my fantasy teams, but hated when he went against my Yankees because he's a good pitcher. And now Bubble Boy is in LA, and that's so frustrating. Luckily, it didn't hurt me too much. He didn't get the loss, and Mr. Ben Kasparius came in and picked up the win for me in another league. But in any case, that's going to be frustrating. He did go on the IL yesterday, I believe. So very frustrating. Might be trying to trade for him, see what I can get, because it's going to be a buy low situation. If I do have the opportunity to hold him on my IL spot, definitely will, because he's good when he's on. We also had subpar starts from Mr. Aaron Nola. I did not start him against the Cubs because I thought, why in the world will I start against the Cubs? He had a good start then. And also Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller is again going to be pitching tonight, I believe against the Cardinals? Maybe. I don't know who they're going against. I forgot off the top of my head. Maybe the Phillies? Oh, God, no. I wouldn't start him against the Phillies. In any case, he's starting tonight. I'm nervous, but at the same time, I mean, you got to start your studs. And then we also had blown saves. Oh, that's so frustrating. From Mr. Luke Jackson, which apparently that was like a fluke play. I've not seen it. I've just heard about it, and I've read about it. Apparently, it was like an overthrow to first, and then they kept messing up, throwing it to third. And Heliot Ramos, who I'm pretty sure I did not start that night, got like an inside the park home run, but it wasn't considered a home run. Now, had it been considered a home run, I'd have been really mad if I didn't have it. But And then another blown save, his first on the season, Baron Finnegan. Extra this week did include Andrew Haney, who again got me a great start and a win and some strikeouts. Luis Castillo, again, a win, some strikeouts, and 0 ERA, so that was even better. And then Mr. Brenton Doyle, someone dropped him, and I'm so happy they did because I'm able to get him and allow him to be a part of my, hopefully, championship winning team. We also have the drops, including Mr. David Bednar, which only because I needed to get some people off the IR, get people off of NA. We also dropped Mr. Brandon Woodruff, AJ Puke, who knows how long he's going to be out. It's very unfortunate because he was a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher, have that eligibility for me. So, And then finally, we released Andrew Haney because we need room to pick up Mr. Luis Castillo. As we move to a team that is in 5th place to a team that has 5 wins, remaining undefeated on the season, the Funky Junkie Joker Monkeys were able to come up with a pretty close win, 406 to 386. It was much closer than it needed to be. I had some very poor starts from starting pitchers, but my man from East Carolina, Connor Norby, got me a 3-run home run on Sunday. The 3-run home run gave me a 20-point lead and much more cushion in case Mr. Kyle Tucker decided to do something on Sunday Night Baseball. He did not, so it did not hurt me too much. Pretty pumped about the guys that did well for me because, again, I didn't really do a whole lot with my pitching. However, Mr. Jose Quintana led me with 36, followed by Seth Lugo with 31, who I picked up last week because someone dropped. I don't know why. Then I had 5 more guys with at least 20 points. So very, very dispersed number of points from a number of guys. No one guy did it for me. Speaking of the number 5, we got 5 points each from Freddie Peralta and Tyler Malley. We got 3 points from Landon Roop. We got 1 point from Christopher Sanchez. That's pretty disappointing. But again, hopefully he's going to do well for us tomorrow in his start against the Nationals. Now, let's talk about some of the adds and drops and trades we got. I really wanted Connor Norby. My boy has third base eligibility, and he has second base eligibility. And I wanted him just because we went to the same school. So, my boy is on this guy's team. I offered him some pitching. Offered him like Jake Berger at the beginning of the season. Then I offered him someone else. And finally, like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I offered him Landon Roop. Well, I sat there for like 8 days, so a little over a week, and finally, I get a notification. It's like, hey, trade accepted. I was like, what trade did I offer, and what did I accidentally select? Well, I offered that, he accepted it, so pretty pumped about it, and at the end of the week, Connor Norby is actually the person who gave me that up to 20-point lead with his 3-run home run, getting me 14 points. Woo! Connor Norby, my boy. I'll get to the adds and drops. We did pick up Jake Mangum, who's hitting like 330 for the Rays. And of course, I picked him up the very next day. He sprained his groin, so that's not good. Also, Isaiah Kiner Falafel. Then we picked up Sean Burke. He was a reliever, so there was a starter for the White Sox, and he came in, and he didn't do terrible. It wasn't sexy, but he got me some points to, again, pad the lead I had. We also were able to pick up Mr. Cade Smith. Love me, Cade Smith. Love me some relievers. He is doing very well, picking up a few saves here and there because Manuel Clase is overrated. And finally, Logan Evans. Logan Evans was a pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. Did pretty well in his lone start, or his first start in the Major League, or his debut in Major League Baseball on Sunday. He was able to pick up the win. Drops to include Jake Mangum because he hurt his groin, like we talked about before. Sean Burke, because who wants to have more than one or any White Sox pitcher for any point in time other than a very smart stream that we had. Then Mr. Sir Anthony Dominguez and Brian Abreu. Unfortunately, also Ceddanne Rafaela. I dropped him for Jake Mangum, and then Rafaela did good and Mangum got hurt, so I no longer have the ability to pick up Ceddanne Rafaela. But I do have the ability to be 5-0 going into this next week. I'm excited, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I got lucky. I was like the fourth highest out of like 10 or 12 in this league this past week, so yeah, I got lucky that I was facing the bum. We're going to switch platforms now, head on over to the ESPN Leagues and talk about the South Harmon Institute of Technology. I had a pretty convincing win this week. 11 wins, 4 losses, and 3 ties. Those 4 categories we lost, one of them was a direct effect of only using relievers because we did have 2 blown saves, and that stinks because we're usually always going to lose that category because at least one of our guys is going to blow it. Let's hope not, though, but that's usually how it goes. We also lost stolen bases this week. We had 1 stolen base. How? We have some stolen base savants on our team. We only had 1? Come on, guys. Still, the guys that did well that absolutely could have stolen bases for us did include Mr. Francisco Lindor. 17 total bases, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Of course, no stolen bases. Also, Bryce Terang. We're going to start with him. He had no stolen bases. What are you doing, man? That's like your whole reason for being on my team. You had 10 total bases, 4 walks, which that's very surprising, and 4 RBIs. So thank you for that. Mr. Matt Olson. My boy. It's 6 walks. In addition to 6 walks, Matt Olson had 1 home run. You know who else had a home run? In fact, had 2 home runs. The freak of nature catcher first baseman who has ability to steal bases, Agustin Ramirez. He had 2 home runs, 8 total bases. He also only scored 2 runs and had 2 RBIs because they were both solo shots. So that's pretty unfortunate. But shoot, I'll be more than happy to be watching Mr. Agustin Ramirez run around bases, even if it's, when I'm already winning that category. We also had at least 1 win and 6 strikeouts from Mr. Nick Pivetta and Bailey Ober. On the opposite side, the pitcher who did not do well for us was Roki Sasaki. Dude, you're making me so mad. I'm just trying to trade you. There's a guy that you're on his watch list. I want to see if I can get Lars Newbar for you. That's how tired of you I am. You ain't doing nothing. You walk to me, people. You can't strike anyone out. You're not going to go deep in games. We also had some blown saves from Mr. Shelby Miller and Luke Jackson. Luke Jackson also got charged with 2 losses, so that stinks. So again, that's where the blown saves come from. It's where we lost that category. But then we also had some cold weeks from a few batters. Sal Frelick, dude, your stolen bases are missed heavily. Like, what are you doing? Need steal bases. Also, JJ Bleday, yeah, you get some walks, but we need some more. Matt Olson, cold as usual, man. Like, you need to heat it up, baby. You got like 3 or 4 home runs on the year. We definitely need more than that. Talking about a guy being cold, Taylor Ward. Good Lord, dude. You're hitting barely 200. You're beside Mike Trout in the outfield. Both of you need to heat up because, I don't care about Mike Trout, but when Mike Trout's better, you're going to be better. At least that's the thought process. You can get more RBIs, right? Come on, Taylor Ward. Need you to do better. Now let's go ahead and get to the adds and drops. We did add a Shelby Miller because, AJ Puke is going down and going to be out for a while, and Justin Martinez is battling arm fatigue or something like that. Then we also did pick up Mr. Christopher Sanchez. Pretty happy with that pickup because he's going to be cleared to pitch tomorrow for the Nationals or against the Nationals, and that could be a good matchup. And then, of course, we picked up Agustin Ramirez. I don't know if he's going to be my starting catcher moving forward. I don't know if he's going to be first, but we're going to have him in our lineup, that's for sure. And the drops did include Mr. Jonathan Ronda. As soon as I said he was hitting 395, he decided to go and hit 305, which is still good, but not quite cutting it because he's not getting any other stats. And then Mr. Ryan Presley. I wasn't sure if he was going to be the closer still But in any case, he hasn't got many opportunities. I think he's got 4 holds on the season. So again, we dropped him to pick up Mr. Shelby Miller, who's going to pick up some holds. Hopefully, I don't know about some saves, but he'll at least get some. Overall, the South Harmon Institute Technology is 44, 26, and 20. Happy with how things are going. We just need to keep playing our game. Stick to the game plan. Pitching, but only relief, or at least very little starting pitching, and focus on relief. And then just make sure we are doing our job on offense. But easier said than done. Now I'm going to move to the Peach Creek Purgatory Team, where it was another tough week, but we were able to pull it out. It doesn't seem like it was that close, but there was a point in time where I was actually losing this past week. 883 to 713. You might be thinking, dude, you won by 170 points. How was it close? Well, I didn't know Mr. Eugenius Suarez was going to have himself a game. I also didn't realize I wasn't starting him. I did not start him in another league, so heads up, that's pretty frustrating. But he was our top scorer, no surprise there. 67 points. Also, we talked about Lars Newport trying to trade for him in another league. He was able to get us 55 points, and then Jose Quintana got us 50. On the other side, Mr. Freddie Peralta only got us 9 points. Jordan Hicks got us 6 points, and Dean Kramer got us 3. Yes, we were desperate enough to have to pick up Dean Kramer from the Orioles. We also picked up Tomoyuki Sagano. We also picked up Jordan Hicks. That's sad. And then Jorge Soler, because he was trying to figure out where to hit the ball to, and most of the time it was over the fence, and now he hasn't hit a home run for me in like a week and a half. Well, that's not good. And then the drops did include Dean Kramer, Tomoyuki Sagano, Kyle Freeland, and Pedro Pajas. At this point in time, we were 5-0, happy with what we're doing. We just got to keep it up, start your studs, make the right calls, and just hope and pray that you don't screw up too badly on a Sunday. Talking about making mistakes on Sunday, we're going to mosey on down to our last fantasy team, the Russell My Jim Jams team. And we didn't lose too badly. It was 5 categories to 7 categories to 4 categories. However, those 4 categories that we tied in, 3 of them could have been won had I just started Lourdes Gurriel. We were tied in extra base hits, RBIs, and stolen bases. We also lost by 1 hit. So, not only could Gurriel have at least tied us in hits, he could have won us extra base hits, won us RBIs, and won us stolen bases. And that would have given us like an 8-7 lead, or 8 to 6 lead, something like that. In any case, I digress. Very frustrated, but it's all good, man. You were hitting like 170, so why in the world would I start you? Just because. In any case, this week we had a lot of guys who did pretty well for us. We had a lot of guys who had at least 2 extra base hits, a lot of guys who had at least 1 home run and some extras. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the guys who had at least 2 extra base hits for us. Connor Norby, George Springer, Nick Castellanos, Lawrence Butler, Wilson Contreras, Gavin Lux, TJ Friddle, Bryson Stott, and Logan O'Hoppe. Those 2 extra base hits were actually home runs. Speaking of home runs, we had at least 1 home run each from Connor Norby, Lawrence Butler, Wilson Contreras, Nate Lowe, Gavin Lux, and Bryson Stott. And then we had 2 holds from Mr. Chris Martin and 2 saves each from Cade Smith and Luke Jackson. And the guys who didn't do well for us was pretty much just a list of guys who were cold the entire week. Jose Altuve, which is super frustrating to say. Lawrence Butler, even more frustrating to say. Taylor Wood, again, very frustrating to say. Nate Lowe and Logan Shanuel. We also had a subpar start from Mr. Kevin Gausman. Not sure if he's going to be healthy, but he decided to absolutely forget how to hit the strike zone in the 3rd inning against the Yankees, and it did allow us to win, but luckily I was not starting Kevin Gausman. See? Big brain move right there. After this week did include a few guys who went straight to IL, including Clayton Kershaw and Johnny DeLuca. We also were able to add Reds teammates TJ Friddle and Gavin Lux, and also Mr. Zach McKinstry. But the best ad we made all week was Connor Norby. Love Connor Norby. Already talked about that. ECU man after my own heart. But why was that so crazy that we got him? Well, the loser that we were playing had him, and he wouldn't trade him to me. He said, hey man, how about you give me Christopher Sanchez and I'll give you Connor Norby? No, dumb dick. That's not how this works. I'm not going to be that guy that you fleeced last year and give you 3 good guys, 3 all-stars, because I want a guy we went to the same college. No, dude, get out of here. Well, for some reason, he didn't like that, so he didn't engage in any more trade talks with me. So just play the waiting game. He got hurt, figured he's going to release him. No, he had a lot of IL spots. So finally, when he did release him, jumped on that waiver wire, put my claim in, and was able to get him. Drops for this week were absolutely gut-wrenching. They were frustrating, and more importantly, they were hard to make because they were guys I built my team around after the last few years. I thought, hey, these guys are going to help me win and get back to the playoffs, and fortunately, they did not do that. Mr. Brandon Nimmo was probably the one that made me the sickest, especially after yesterday. 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. Good Lord, nobody would have caught me after that day. In any case, we also dropped Mr. Tyler O'Neill, who, again, home run machine, but man, you strike out a lot, and now your neck is stiff. Dude, go back to the gym. Carlos Santana was another one. He was a walk machine and had a very late season power surge, hitting me RBIs. The hardest one was probably Luis Rengifo. We had him last year. He was doing so well for us and he got hurt. So now that his team is healthy and he's healthy, he's pooping the bed. Hopefully he'll come back around with second and third eligibility, picked up outfield at some point in time, maybe shortstop. That'd be phenomenal. But in any case, the last person we dropped was Jose Caballero. Wasn't really attached to him. He just had a lot of stolen bases, so bye-bye. Despite the loss this week, I'm still somewhat happy with where we are. Overall, we are 27, 37, and 16. That does not sound sexy, but we're not too far out of at least being in sixth spot. Sixth spot is where we need to be to at least make the playoffs. I'm hoping to continue to play smart. Not worry too much, again, about the pitching. Just worry about getting my holds and saves. Low ERA, low whip. Few wins here and there, limit the losses, limit the blown saves, but really got to work on the offense. That's what we have to do. We absolutely have to make some more hard decisions. We might have to drop one of our 3 catchers. We might not be able to keep Logan Shaw Noel. We might not be able to, but I have to figure something out, and it's, again, going to be tough when I get to that point, but we're going to have to do it if we want to win. So, some of the guys I think you should add. No-brainer here, Agustin Ramirez. If for some odd reason he's still available, go pick him up. My goodness. Another guy, if you're in OPS or walks categories league, Lars Nootbaar. As of yesterday, he had 23 walks. I'm pretty sure that's the most in the major leagues, other than like, for the big guys like Soto and Judge. I'm not really 100% sure, but I know he's on the waiver wire, and a guy just jumped out and grabbed him right before I did. I'm so upset. Another guy I think you should add, Shelby Miller. If you're in a holds or saves category league, depending on what the heck is going on with Mr. JT Martinez, or not JT Martinez, Justin Martinez, depending on what's going on with him, he could end up being the guy for a little bit. Kevin Ginko, I will never, ever trust you again, so don't even try to be on any of my teams. So Shelby Miller might be a guy you look at. Also, Reed Garrett, with A.J. Minter going down for the Mets, Reed Garrett will be the next guy in line. Really like him. He's got some good stuff. I think he had like one blow-up where he gave like 2 or 3 earned runs in like 2/3 of an inning. Other than that, he's been pretty lights out, so very happy with that. Randy Rodriguez, another relief guy. That's who I'm focusing on this year. Still unscored upon. My boy is getting up there, setting records. Another guy just putting up silly numbers in the minor leagues who absolutely will be caught up soon is Jordan Lawler. Now, here's the thing. I don't understand why they didn't call him up sooner with Mr. Marte being out, because somebody else could have moved over. Maybe Jordan Lawler could have been a second baseman. He's been playing third, so, of course, Eugenio Suarez is going to have to be DH. But they could have found a way around that, because come on, man. He is just putting silly numbers up in minor leagues. So if you have an NA spot, go ahead and grab Jordan Lawler. He's going to be up soon. Two more guys I think you should add. One's going to be a pitcher, Mr. Logan Evans for the Mariners. Who knows how long he's going to be out with this rotation being hurt. And then outfielder Andy Pajas. He decided to come to life the last 2 weeks for the Dodgers. So who knows how long he's going to be in that lineup, because the Dodgers are stacked. I really do think these ads are going to help you out, because I've made a few of them myself, and I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you will agree, and if you do well, please let me know. I said do. In any case, this is JK Cameron. Thank you for sharing part of your day with me.